All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Super excited to have David Heil. You might know the name David August, right? Or August McGregor, another one of his brands.
That's true.
David, we have so much stuff to talk about, but I just want to say, man, thanks for coming in and doing the podcast with me
Tom,
today.
thanks for having me. It's my pleasure. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, man. So for the people that don't know you or maybe don't know your work, I was thinking about this morning, like, the people that I have seen close just being in your shop, which is just, a little ways away from us.
Right.
Conor McGregor, Tony Robbins, Andrew Bocelli. I saw something in there with, I think it was a Joe Rogan jacket recently, Dana White. Pretty much every famous MMA to actors, actresses, musicians, politicians. I think there was a Bill Clinton photo inside there of a suit you made for him.
George Bush, Bill Clinton, Brad Pitt, Robert Downey Jr., anything Marvel Entertainment.
Yeah.
And, but really some of my favorite are all the business guys I deal with.
Yeah.
They're more like, you can kind of relate to them a little bit more.
For sure, for sure. So we want to talk about fashion. We want to talk about COVID. We want to talk about business.
COVID.
Right? I mean, COVID in the sense of, let's just actually, before I go there, I want to say this. For the people that don't know you, who is David Heil? Like, you've been doing this for a long time. Give us a little background.
Well, I've been doing this for a long time, longer than I'd like to say, but everyone always says, how long have you been doing this? If we're talking around the office and people go, oh my God, David's been doing this for 35 years. I say, don't say that. Say 20 years, more than 20 years.
Yes.
Once you get past that, everybody wants to be doing things for a long time when they first started anything. And then you get to 5 years and then 10 years and 15, then 20. You're like, wow, this is amazing. And then once you get past that, you're kind of like, wow, I'm getting old, but we're not old.
No
we're
way,
just getting
man.
better.
And we're going to talk about this. Like you have such an amazing ability to stay fresh and relevant and on the pulse. We're going to get into that. Yeah. But so you've been doing this for a long time.
Long time.
How did you get started?
It was, what happened was when I went to school, first of all, I've always been a worker bee my entire life. My dad was in the construction business and development business and real estate and finance, and we owned some hotels and restaurants and, all that type of thing. And we always worked in the family businesses, my brother and I and my sisters also. But went to school, and when I graduated high school, I went to college, and I went to, and I got out of Arizona State. I came back from school, moved back home, and my dad said, so where do you want to work? Do you want to work in the finance business? You want to work in real estate? You want to work in hotels? You want to work in restaurants? What do you want to do? And I said, Dad, I think I want to open a clothing store. And he looked at me and he said, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You need to talk to my tailor. So that's what happened. I went to lunch with his tailor that used to make his suits for him.
Yeah.
This guy named Gehry. And he'd made me a suit before, and I was all, excited about it. And I was always a dresser ever since I was a young kid.
Yes.
My mom would iron my shirts for me, and I would re-iron them for her. Before I went to school. I just was a dresser. Anyway, really loved it, had a good time with it, and I got to a point where my friends were always calling me for my opinion on things, and so it just was kind of a natural. But went and met with my dad's tailor for lunch at one of his hotels, actually in Anaheim, California. And I came out of that meeting working for his tailor. Right. And I said, Dad, I'm going to work with Gehry. And he was like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
He's like, I built this entire empire.
Yeah.
And you're going left versus right.
A big left, a hard left.
Yeah.
Anyway, so went to work with Gehry, and he trained me on how to measure people and about quality tailoring. And I ended up taking many, many trips to Europe and learning about, tie making and Como, Italy, and I went to Torino, Italy, and to Biella, Italy for fabrics, and Huddersfield, England, and made many, many trips there, and started, really working with some of the fabric mills and getting into the behind the scenes about the actual cloth.
Yeah,
really loved it, and so I started, getting a clientele base around Southern California, just introducing myself to people and saying, hey, let me make you a couple shirts. Let me make you a suit. Let me make you, and I was like working out of my car actually.
Right.
And going door to door. And
was this pre-David Ricky?
That was before David Ricky. It was called the Custom Clothier.
Okay.
And then I worked for them for about 3 years. And then I ended up going off on my own and started David Ricky and Company with two of the guys that were independent contractors for David Ricky at the time.
Yeah.
And so it was David, and Rick, and that created David Ricky and Company.
Yeah.
And we kind of started off, we were actually all three worked out of my car.
Really?
And we'd go to an appointment and we'd go, get out and go sell something. And one of us would go out and sell something. We'd come back to the car, we'd go to the next appointment, and then we'd go back to one of to Rick's house actually and pick up our UPS boxes,
Yeah.
unpackage what we had from like suits that had come in, and we'd steam them out, and we'd go to the next appointments next few days and deliver that. And turned out we ended up taking a showroom over by the Performing Arts Center in Orange County.
Yep.
And it just exploded from there. It was amazing. We became, we started working, our very first big name was Rick Dees. Remember Rick Dees?
Of course, Rick Dees in the morning, right?
And Coach Charlie Wright.
Yes.
Well, those two were a team, and Rick was making clothing for Rick Dees. My partner Rick was making clothing for Rick Dees. And we started a program with them that was the Athlete of the Week program. And so they said, we're going to talk about this all week, and we're going to pick an athlete at the end of the week, and we're going to have our in-house clothiers, David Rick and Company, come in and make them a suit. So we did, and our first athlete they picked was Pat Riley. Yeah, great one to pick,
That
right?
was a good move.
That was a good one, right. So we measured
and we're
Pat.
talking Showtime Lakers.
That's right,
right?
Exactly, yeah. So it was Pat Riley first, measured him. He loved it. And then we had Bo Jackson and Wayne Gretzky and Chris McCarron, which was a jockey, Hall of Fame jockey.
Yes.
Anyway, and then we eventually, it just took off, and we became the official clothiers for the NFL Coaches Club, and then we worked with the NBA, and we got to use their logos on our stationery, and that was a big thing when there was paper.
Sure.
Anyway, and it just took off, and we ended up we grew to having about 65 employees right here in Southern California and about 25 outside clothiers. And it was great. And then we expanded. And what happens with everybody? You expand too quickly. And then we kind of actually, we stayed in business together for almost 20 years.
Yes.
And then we all kind of wanted to do something a little bit different. And I kept the name, the David Ricky name. And they went and did, each of the guys, one moved to New York. And Rick moved to Miami or Florida, somewhere in Florida. And so after a while, I said, why am I still marketing the David Ricky name? I'm going to change it to my own name, David August. August is a family name.
Yes.
My father's name is Del August. My grandfather's name was August David. And so anyway, David August, and my middle name. And so David August Heil. And so I said, I'm going to name it David August. And so we went with that about, I'd say, 16 years ago now.
So when someone hears that, it's going to be hard for them to not say, okay, this was just way too easy, right? Like, he went against the grain on his family business, right? I can relate to that.
Yeah, it is. Success is always really so easy, right, Tom?
Yeah, right? So I mean, were there any moments when you were like, this is stupid, it's not going to work? Or is fashion just so
like every day
in you that, you know what I mean, that you just kept going?
Yeah, you know what? I was brought up to be, a worker bee, like I said earlier. And my dad, we were working on the job sites when we were 12 years old, picking up nails and stuff like that. And we'd always get out of bed and work around the house on the weekends. Like I was the pool boy. I wasn't. We didn't have a pool guy. Yeah. And I, cleaned out our horse stables and I washed. We had a nice home, but I did all the work around the house with my brother and my dad. Yeah. So we were conditioned from an early age to get up and get out of bed and get to work.
Do you think that the way you were raised, I mean, first of all, the work ethic side, right? I told you, my dad, right? So I cut from that same cloth, man. Let's work 16 hours a day, and then what are you gonna do the second half, right? Yep. But there was something to, you were in an environment where luxury, wealth, opportunity, business was more natural for you, right? Right. So was it more natural for you then to go start a business?
Well, I never wanted to. Take out the quality factor of anything I ever did. And so that's how my dad raised us is, hey, always quality first. Yeah. Don't skimp. Yeah. And so that was kind of in my mind from an early age also. So I never wanted to discount the quality issues. And so I said I would rather have a much nicer quality garment than having one of those than having 5 of something else. Sure. And so that was my path from the very beginning. And so that was my go-to, and I still preach that today. I don't think people need 25 suits in their closet. Well, don't say that anyway. Yeah. No, anyway, but honestly,
you need a blue, you need a black, you need a gray.
You need your basics. I tell people now you need 4 or 5 great, go-to suits that are great quality. You need something black tie optional. Yeah. You need something navy, something gray. Maybe a blue gray, which is a little fashionable now, and then a change of pace suit, like a silver gray or a heather tan. Yeah. And then if you buy those right, and you select the right fabrics in those categories, you can actually wear the jackets in a pinch as a sport coat with a pair of jeans. Everyone's dressing so casually nowadays, and even more now since what's going on with COVID. I think people want to dress, but there's just no opportunity to dress.
Yeah, where do you go?
Yeah, where do you go? I mean, you can do dress up at home, date night at home.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, we kind of laugh about that, but it's a reality, and we're like, okay, I can't wait to get past this, like everyone else says.
So you were going into something there that I wanted to talk about, which is just I always think of you as like the first time I met you a million years ago. You're making a suit for my dad, right?
That's right, exactly.
And I didn't know the phrase zeitgeist then, or but I understand it today. Like you have this incredible ability to stay on the cutting edge ahead of everybody, which is why we all come back to you and say, okay, well, what do I need now? That's you still get the phone calls. You got them as a kid, you get them now.
That's right.
David, I'm going to speak at the summit this year. It's virtual. What do I wear? Right?
Yeah.
Like
happens all the time.
How did you create that? Or what do you do that because everyone listening wants to be that for their clients.
Well, so what I think happens is, honestly, my business it's a lifestyle business. And so I've always treated it as a lifestyle business. And so my friends are my clients and my clients are my friends. Mm-hmm. And so I've always been under the rule of thought that you have to always have like 100 plates spinning.
Yes.
And never be too greedy, never act like you're too hungry, and it's going to come around. So you have to have patience, but you always strive for the top, and you surround yourself and you put yourself in situations that are the epitome of the best of the best of the best. And so I always like to travel to the nicest locations, nicest resorts. I love, I love being on a beautiful island somewhere. I'm a warm weather guy. I live at the beach here in Southern California. I love it. I live, I think, in the nicest neighborhood in Southern California. But to get that, you really have to, put yourself in that in your mind first before you actually achieve it.
Yeah.
And so I always do that, and I'm always preaching, go to the nicest places, eat at the nicest restaurants. Don't worry about the money. Money, you can always make more money.
Yeah.
And I think that, you don't want to get yourself in too much debt, obviously, but at the same time, you do want to plan, and I've always been a planner in that respect.
Yeah. So being in all those spots around the world, and listen, I mean, I think everybody aspires, or at least I hope that everybody aspires, like to whatever the best is for them.
Yeah.
That could be a camping trip in Big Sur, or it could be staying at the Post Ranch
Glamping,
Inn, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Right. So it's everybody's perspective, but back to like the whole fashion thing, like how do you stay on the cutting edge? Is it going to all these places and seeing what's going on and then bringing it back?
A little bit of everything. I immerse myself in it all the fresh, and that's what I was kind of getting to. I was alluding to. When I'm traveling, I try to stay in the mix, in the circles that is fresh. Everything's fresh. Everything is like what is good right now. What is, and then in those circles, I want to go to the nicest, whatever it might be.
Yes.
I love to shop. I hate to shop and I love to shop. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you make it a chore, it's a chore. But if you make it fun, it can be really fun. And when I mean shop, I don't mean going out and buying necessarily.
Yeah.
I like to explore.
Yeah.
And I explore when I go to a nice resort. What are people wearing at the resort? I keep my eyes wide open all the time. And I think that you need to keep your eyes open. What happens with a lot of people is they get passive and
complacent,
routine, and that's the enemy. Of fashion. Routine is the enemy. Now, there's some basics that you want to have in your wardrobe.
Sure.
But you can always update your basics. And people want to be fresh. They want to wear something that they feel good in and makes themselves feel good. And get up and you put something fresh on. I don't care if it's a pair of sweats and a t-shirt and a pair of tennis shoes. If that is a fresh, cool, well-fitting pair of sweats, a t-shirt, and tennis shoes, you're going to feel much better.
Right.
And so I've always reached for that. And so I think that's how it keeps me on the edge.
So let's talk about, I'm going to totally go a different direction. Conor McGregor. Mm-hmm. How did that, so by the way, for the people that are watching here, I was brought a gift by David today.
Got to have everything.
Right. Some world famous Conor McGregor FU underwear.
Boxers briefs, yeah.
My son actually tried on the original. So tell the story. How did you meet Conor? How did this come about? And then how did you guys start this business and what's happened?
Okay, so again, we take care of so many people in so many industries, and the cream of the crop of everybody. The most successful people in any industry, we kind of get, and our business it's a word of mouth business.
Yes.
At this level, everybody, and the other thing, what happens when we do get referred to these people, they never really want to meet us.
Really?
Because they have a closet full of clothing.
Yes. Yes.
Already.
I don't need anything else. I have too many suits already.
You're the last guy I want to meet.
Tuxedo.
Some guy is going to come in here and make me a bunch of new clothing. I got a whole closet full of things that I don't even wear right now. Yeah. I'm actually not trying to, I don't want to ever wear a suit again my entire life. I'm just about to sell my company, or I just sold my company.
Yep.
So we probably work with over 80 billionaires around the world, which is, to me, it's not the billionaire status that is so exciting to me. It's, wow, these guys have all succeeded in such a high level in their own industries, and that's what's interesting to me. So anyway, I was making clothing for Dana White, who was referred to me from Mickey Rourke, who was referred to me.
Know, Dana White is the president of the UFC.
That's right. He runs the UFC, and he's so he was referred to me through Mickey Rourke, of all people, and he's not
crazy actor.
Crazy actor who's referred to me through Marvel Entertainment. He was on Iron Man, and so I make clothing for every Marvel Entertainment movie that's out there for the most part, or the directors, the producers, the actors, everybody.
Yeah.
So anyway,
by the way, we're going to talk about how do you deal with super high end, super powerful, super crazy people, because he's the king of it. That's going to be helpful for everybody listening.
Okay, good. So we end up Mickey Rourke calls me and says, hey, listen, I want you to make a suit for Dana White.
Yeah.
And I said, great, let's do it. So, and when I get referred, it's not, I don't like to hound people. I just feel uncomfortable calling people. Yeah. If they get referred, that's great. And if they call me, I would love to see them. Yeah. I love new business. I love that. But I'm not the type of guy that's going to, hound people by any means. Like, I don't really call many of my clients. It's just a natural, we see each other out for dinner, and hey, David, I need a couple new things, and it's just kind of a.
It's very easy.
I call it the kind of the Columbo approach, Yeah. Anyway, so I end up meeting Dana White. They called me and say, hey, listen, he wants to meet you at his house, or actually at the hotel in the Montage in Laguna Beach. Mm-hmm. So I got to the hotel. I shouldn't really tell the story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Okay. What the heck? So I end up meeting Dana at the hotel, and I pull into the hotel lobby, into the valet parking area, and I got out, and I walk in, and Dana, I've never met the guy before, but I kind of know what he looks like from the pictures. So I see him in the lobby. He's walking towards me, and he says, and I'm wearing this, classic Navy suit, white shirt, classic tie, and he says, David? And I said, yeah, Dana. And he goes, oh, thank God. I thought you were going to come in here looking like Mickey Rourke. Just like, because Mickey's crazy, right?
Yeah, right.
And
association.
Yeah. So I said, no. I said, actually, I'm a pretty conservative guy for the most part. And the people that we deal with are pretty much conservative. Yeah. Classic, Yeah. And I deal with rock and rollers.
You're not talking politics. You're talking about just, their style.
Their style. They're a little bit more, Anyway, so he says, look, I told you that I wanted to meet you here, and but I have a house down the street here. And so when we come back, now that I know you, we'll meet at my house. Yeah. So it was kind of that, he wanted a little steady. He wanted to check me out first. Yep. So made him an outfit. He loved it. Made him a couple more things. Loved it. And then I was at the UFC office in Las Vegas, and he said, yeah, you got to meet my partner. And so, and what happened when I met Dana, when Mickey referred Dana to me, Dana says, well, I use Tom Ford. Yeah. Tom Ford, great suits. Beautiful.
Phenomenal,
yeah. Great style. Amazing. Done an amazing job. But Mickey said, fuck Tom Ford. Yeah. You need to see my guy. And
which is how everybody
right.
Not in those exact language, but we're all like, no, you got to get a suit by David. Yeah. Right. Like everybody says the same.
So that's what happened. So I met Dana. He loved it. Yeah. I'm in his office. He said, you have to meet my buddy, my partner, Lorenzo. Okay, fine. So he pulls him out of a meeting. Yep. Lorenzo sticks his head out the door. And he said, hey, this is the guy that I was telling you making my clothing, David August. He was referred me to me from Mickey Rourke. And he says, I told him that I wear Tom Ford. And he said, fuck Tom Ford. And Lorenzo said, yeah, fuck Tom Ford. Just, having fun with it. And he says, I want to get some measurements. And so we did. Yeah. Lorenzo's a great guy and very good client of David August and good friend. And so he says, listen, I got this new fighter that's coming over that I want you to come over and fit. He thinks he's a dresser. Yeah. But I want to show him what a real dress
really looks like.
Right. Yes. And so can you meet me at my office this week when he comes into town from Dublin? Yeah. I said, yeah, sure, of course. So Conor was there, his agent was there, Dana was there, Lorenzo was there, and I come walking in, and Conor says,
Conor comes walking
Conor
up.
did his billionaire shuffle.
Right, exactly.
And so, but I walked in and he's like, oh, this is the guy I was telling you about. Oh, this is the tailor?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I'm the tailor.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Whatever. I can sew on a button. But anyway, yeah, sure. So I take his measurements and he says, pick out some things. And so showing him some fabrics and he's picking out a few things and he gets to, 4 or 5 suits and he looks over at Lorenzo and Lorenzo goes, keep going.
Yeah.
Picked out a few more things, a few more sport coats, and then Lorenzo added a tuxedo and a car coat at the end. And so we're off to the races. We need to have this stuff made in a few weeks because he's going through his press tour and he wants it to look great for the upcoming fight. So we rushed everything through. And when he got the clothing on his body, Conor, he went bananas, crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is amazing. And I said, well, we should do a collaboration together. Let's do it. So we talked about that for like 3 years, honestly.
Yes. And this is like when his career was ascending.
First time in the UFC.
Yeah.
He'd been fighting previously, but first time in the UFC. So we met him at that point, and now it's been like 7 years, I believe, ago. And so we talked about it for about 3.5 years. And we finally sat down and said, let's do this. Let's give something back to his fan base. And he's got a huge fan base. He has 37 million people following him on his social media. I know that's like Instagram, and he has tweeting, and he has all the other different Facebook. But okay, fine. So we wanted to kind of give something back to his fan base that was a get the look, not the expense. David August, our clothing is higher end.
Yes.
It's not as affordable for everyone, but people want a piece of that. And so we designed a line that we sell. It's all e-commerce driven. And so we do about a drop every 6 weeks, and we put in the drop maybe a suit, a sport coat, a couple pairs of pants, matching coordinating pants, a couple dress shirts, and then we do polos and T-shirts and hoodies and tracksuits and beanies and baseball caps and underwear. And it's been a huge success.
Okay, so I think a lot of people out there will appreciate this. Maybe some will have to Google it, but that's like Supreme, right?
Yeah,
like when Supreme does a drop.
That's right.
So my older son went same SMU as your daughter did.
Exactly.
And he was buying and selling Supreme gear.
Oh, he's probably making a living.
Killing it.
Yeah.
Getting in on the Thursday drop.
That's right.
Knew the sizes to buy, knew where to put, and was killing it.
This is sold through twice. As soon as we drop, sold through twice. This is my private stash that you gotta. So here you go.
Thank you, man. Yeah. So what's it like building a partnership like that? We talk a lot with our clients about partnership marketing. Like, I Zillow, Bank of America, these are, they've been my partners, right, in terms of marketing. You've done it masterfully with this, right? And you're crazy, I'm crazy, Conor's crazy. How do you make that work? How do you make that partnership work?
Well, it takes a lot of patience, first of all. A lot of patience.
Yes.
When you think it's just going to go, it's going to be automatic. I don't think that anything really, really great is automatic.
I agree.
It's just people
Everything
think,
takes time.
You're so lucky. You're in the right place at the right time. I'm like, yeah, I've been in the right place for 30 years plus.
Yeah.
And so daily. And so, and I don't look at it as work. I look at it as a fun experience to let's start this and let's get it going. But it does take patience. It takes more communication from your part than you may think you're going to have to do on an ongoing basis. Because like Conor he's Conor McGregor.
Yes.
He's wild, right? He's, and that's what makes him great, honestly.
That's why the brand is exciting.
It's frustrating at times, and it's amazing at times.
Yes.
Mostly amazing. And then there's times where, there's been times where, we're ready to do a drop. We're ready to meet we did a deal with H&M and big deal. And, he no-showed. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
It's not because he doesn't want to be there. It's just he's busy or he gets sidetracked and he's got people pulling at him from every direction. And so
he's got the whiskey now. He's got a lot
Proper
going on
12,
in his life.
It's great. He's done amazing with that business. And so
and did you see his tweet the other day? I'm in.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right.
Okay. So the response from Dano on that is he's not, but we'll see. I mean, you know what? All that I can say is that leaves him open to box.
Right.
If he's not in fighting through the rest of the year, then okay. And we all found out that, he said him in a box Mayweather, and people thought that was hilarious and it's not going to happen. And we actually talked about that for like 3 years.
Yeah. And
what happened? It happened.
You were at that fight.
Oh yeah. I made his boxing gear, all his shorts, everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you sent something. I want to just hit for the people that are listening or watching right now. you were the operator essentially in that partnership, even though you got the creative eye. You're taking a brand, Conor, and you're building something around it. You got to be patient with that. And if you're the operator, you got to just deal with the fact. Like I think about it all the time. Like I have to be the one that's patient, organized, making sure the numbers work, get it all right. And that's how I can celebrate my partner.
That's right. And by the way, your partner, I look at it as I'm the design partner, the operator, he's the celebrity partner.
Right.
Okay. And so there's all these collaborations going on, and you can liken it to any business really out there. You can, put collaborations together. But in this situation, we have a lot of celebrities we deal with. And so we have all this opportunity coming our way, like on a daily basis. We have people, we have Brooks Koepka. He's a golfer. He's an amazing guy, and love to do a collaboration with him. We have actors and entertainers, and we have DJs, and
everybody wants to be in the clothing business.
I'm making clothing for Post Malone right now, and DaBaby and all these guys that I don't even know who they are, but they are great opportunities to do collaborations with.
For sure.
And by the way, they love clothing. They really do. They love nice clothing even more.
Yes.
And so
so let's talk tactically. So how do you got 100 opportunities coming in.
Yep.
How do you decide which one gets your attention? Which one you're going to go all in on? Because you don't do anything half-assed. You go all in.
So that has been a little bit of a hurdle, and I'd say that one of the reasons why it's a hurdle for me is that I care so much about my David August clients that I don't give what might be a bigger opportunity revenue-wise, the opportunity or the time that it really needs, because I'm so into my David August client base, because they're my friends and I want to take care of them. Yeah. And so I think that it does take a lot of time. It takes a lot of focus. And so the opportunities that come my way, I have to be very selective, and I don't want to have it watered down either by like taking every opportunity and okay, let's do it again. It looks cookie cutter. Yeah. I don't want to do that. And so there are probably always a good top 10 opportunities that I'm, thinking about and playing with. And they may not even be a celebrity collaboration. It might be, a sports shirt collaboration with somebody, or a collaboration with another clothing company that, that you don't want to go too mainstream a lot of times, but sometimes if you do dabble in it, it can be fun for both parties. And so like we did something with H&M, and that was great. Yes. And we're looking at something with Zara. We're looking at something before COVID happened, we were looking with many companies, because we're actually on the map now because of the celebrity of Conor McGregor and the clothing. When I made him a suit for his Mayweather fight that went viral, and I never really knew what viral I didn't understand. I heard viral, and that's crazy. Well, that's awesome, but I never really understood viral until it happened to me. Yes. And so,
what was that like?
It still is to this day. Yeah. Just incredible. It's he was doing his press conferences. Conor was doing his press conference for Mayweather. We had 4 press dates. We had LA, we had Toronto, we had New York, and London. And so, as everybody knows, Conor's become this iconic dresser. He dresses high and tight. He loves crazy patterns. And when you own it, you can wear anything. That's right. But you have to own it. You have to be okay with it. If you start, second guessing yourself, don't put it on. Yeah. Just don't do it. It's not worth it.
It kills your swag. Yes.
Totally kills the swag. So I'm at the hotel in LA right before the press conference, the very first press conference for Mayweather. And I brought Conor 4 brand new suits for the press tour. And I'm going to send one of my guys on the tour with him. I couldn't make all the dates, but we like to have somebody there that dresses him, ties his tie, puts a pocket square, and make sure he looks perfect before he goes out on stage. And so I showed him these 4 suits. He was excited about every suit. They were plaids and crazy patterns. And then I brought in this other suit that I had made for him, and it was a pinstripe suit that I'd made, one for myself and one for him, actually. And it just said, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you," in the pinstripes.
So for the people, I know, like some people, the language, but listen to me. Like, we're talking about Conor McGregor. We're talking about an iconic, crazy personality, right, from Dublin, who's an amazing fighter. That suit went. People knew, like, they're like, oh, that guy, he's the FU suit guy. Yeah. Like, he does a little bit more than that.
You can ask almost anyone from, let me back up a little bit with this. And so what happened when I put the suit, I pulled the suit out of the bag, and he's like, "Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's
like,
just a pinstripe suit."
Pinstripe suit.
I said, "Look a little closer." And so he looked, and he's like, "Oh my God, give me that suit." Exactly. We put it on him. He said, "When should I wear this?" And we decided you need to wear it like right now.
Yeah.
So we got him dressed right then, like right in the moment. He put it on. We tied his tie, put the pocket square in. We got in the rollers, and we drove across from the Ritz-Carlton to the Staples Center. He went down, and he got on stage. He's walking back and forth on stage. Dana White gets on stage. Mayweather's on stage with his crew. And they introduced Dana White to introduce Conor McGregor. And Dana's a man of very few words, as everyone knows. And he gets up and he says, "I want to introduce Conor McGregor." That's all he says, right?
Yes.
And Conor gets up to the podium. The crowd goes crazy. And by the way, whenever Conor's in any crowd or any crowd around Conor, like 80% of the crowd is McGregor fans. It just is. They travel. They support him unbelievably. So
it's like a European football club. It's the same
like
exact.
that.
They just go nuts.
Yeah. So anyway, he's on stage and he's at the podium and he's, "Thank you so much for being here." You guys can go online and look at it right now. You can, type that in. You'll see the whole press conference. It's pretty cool. But he says, to cut to the chaser, he says, "So how do I look?" "I think I look pretty effing good." And he says, "If you look very closely at my pinstripes, it'll say how I feel about Mayweather." And everybody kind of laughed a little bit.
Do you remember that?
And then they zoomed in on the pinstripe. And on the Jumbotron, it comes up. And I'm like, "Oh, crap. Here we go."
That's when he goes, "Made by David August."
Place went crazy.
Right.
And we've been talking about our August McGregor collection at the time.
Sure.
We're just kind of getting that going. But we hadn't announced it yet. And I said, whatever you do, don't say August McGregor yet.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So that went crazy. And then after that press conference, there's always a second, third press conference underneath the stadium. It's for the reporters and, the news crews and stuff. So they line everybody up. And when you go down the line behind the rope, and everybody gets asked the guy one question. And the questions are normally, "So how'd you prepare for the fight? When are you going to knock him out? What round? What'd you do different? What are you eating?" All these different things, right? And that's the questions all the time when you talk to these fighters. And so what ends up happening is every third question was, "Tell me about the suit. Tell me about the suit." And I'm like, "Oh my God." So I'm going like this in the background. It's my tailor made me the suit. And then all of a sudden he says, "My tailor and I have a new company, August McGregor. This is an August McGregor suit." And I'm like, "Oh God, here we go." So anyway, the suit went viral.
So how many people called, emailed, went to your website, hit you up on DM and said, "I need one of those suits, man"?
Well, first of all, when I had the fabric made, I was in one of my fabric suppliers' offices back in New York, and I saw this pinstripe years ago, 25 years ago. We would make these suits that had your name in a pinstripe.
Yeah.
Expensive.
Yeah.
It was, the fabric was, $5,000 for the fabric, and then you make the suit. It was like a $10,000 suit back 25 years ago.
Yeah.
But what happened was it was a novelty thing, but nobody really wants to put their name in the suit necessarily.
Yes.
At the time. So it wasn't a big seller, but we sold a few. Anyway, and I saw this card on the back of the desk, and I said, "Hey, do you guys still make those pinstripes that, put names in the suit?" And she said, yeah, we do. We don't do a lot of them, but yeah, it's still available. And I said, "Okay, good. Can you put anything in there?" She said, "Yeah, anything." I'm like, "Okay, get the card out. I want to order a few of these." And so gets the card out, and I'm looking at them. I pick out a navy with a gray, and I pick out a gray with a light gray. And she says, "Okay, what do you want to put in the pinstripe?" And I said, "Well, I want to say, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." And she laughed. She said, "Oh, that's funny. Really, what do you
really want?
Yeah, what do you really want?" And I said, "No, I want that." And she's like, "Oh, are you kidding?" I said, "No." So I said, "I'll lay it out for you and I'll send it to you." So I did. I laid it out, and my graphics guy laid it out, and we sent her the images, and she submitted it, and about 2.5 months go by. This is way before the fight. And about 8 weeks before the fight, I called and I said, "Hey, listen, where's that fabric?"
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh my God, I've been dreading this phone call." And I said, "What's up?" She said, the mill will not weave that. It's too vulgar. And they won't weave it. I'm like, "You're kidding me."
You're like, "Thanks for the call 2.5 months later."
Right.
Hello.
And so she said no. And I said, "Ask him one more time. Just tell him it's for a friend. I'm a big client of yours. Let's do it." I was trying to talk her into it. Yeah. She came back 2 days later and said, "No, you can't do it." So I'm thinking, oh no, now I'm on a mission. So I call all my fabric suppliers. I go through, we deal with Laura Piana and Dorme and Scabal and all these amazing fabric suppliers around the world. And they all came back like a couple days later and said, no, mill won't weave it. Yeah. So now I'm thinking they've got to be going to the same mill for sure. Yeah. And so I called another fabric supplier, Herbert Gladson. I'm going to give the name. They're one of our great fabric suppliers. And I said, hey, guy that I deal with over there, I need you to do me a big favor. Before you say no, I've been turned down like 7 times, and I need you to make this happen. Here's what I need to have happen. And I explained exactly what I wanted to have done. He laughed, and he said, okay, let me see what I can do. And I said, no, I need you to get it done. It's like, you're my last.
Yeah.
I got to have it done.
Like, yeah.
So he came back, and he said, listen, who's this for? And I said, it's just for myself. And he said, okay, so you need 1 suit length. Make it 2.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right. I said, just for me and a friend. And so, okay, fine. I'm going to go ahead and have it done. You can pick one color, do it. So I picked the navy with the gray. Mm-hmm. And I said, the other thing, I need it in like 3 weeks. I need it fast. And it usually takes like 12 weeks to make this fabric. They have to set up the machines and everything.
The loom.
It's the loom.
The old, right?
Anyway,
yes.
it's woven.
Yes.
It's not printed on the fabric. It's
yes.
actually woven into the fabric. So anyway, he calls me like 3 weeks later and says, you're not going to believe it. I have your fabric. Oh my God, great. He goes, it looks amazing. I don't know where you're going to wear this suit, but it looks amazing. Fine, send it to me. He sends me the fabric. I get it. I have a suit made for myself first. Even my shop is like, you really want to make this suit?
Like, really?
Yeah, why? And I said, just make it. And we did. And then fast forward, Conor wears it goes viral. When that happened, I called my fabric supplier and I said, hey, listen, tomorrow morning when you get up, I just want to know, I have an exclusive on the fabric, right? And he says, yeah, of course, we're not going to make that fabric for anyone. No one's going to order that suit. Yeah. I said, okay, just want to make sure. No problem. Next morning, he calls me, David, what's the deal? You didn't tell me that you're making it for Conor McGregor. And I said, well, that's my friend.
Yeah.
And he goes, I said, I have an exclusive, right? And he says, I can't give you an exclusive. Everyone's calling for this fabric.
You're kidding me.
And I said, here's the deal. I'm not going to tell you how to run your business. This is back to business. But I think I'm a pretty good client of yours. And I said, I'm going to have a hard time doing business with you in the future not because I don't want to do business with you, but it's a trust issue now.
Yeah.
You promised me something. Now you go back on your word. So I said,
because you think you're going to make a quick buck.
Yeah. I said, look, let me know.
Yeah.
He says, I'll call you back in 10 minutes. Calls me back and says, you have an exclusive. I said, great. So move forward. Now I don't have any fabric because I only made 10 yards of it. And I used it, one for me, one for Conor. And so now we're getting inundated. So we had, to answer your first question, we've had over 6 billion with a B impressions on the internet. It's probably more like 8 billion now, but at the time, about 6 billion impressions, meaning that's not 6 billion people look at it, but 6 billion times it's been opened and
Sets
viewed.
of eyes saw it, yep.
Right, and people say, hey, check out the suit, check this out. And then we had about over 200 articles written on us through GQ magazine and Vogue magazine and USA Today and New York Times and Boston Globe and LA Times, all over the world. Everyone's writing articles on this suit. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. I ordered another piece of that, which is 60 meters, which makes about 15, 16 suits. So I said, let's just order it and see what happens. I said, put it on. We've never sold anything on the website custom because, we have to fit people. And there's 30 measurements we take and we do multiple fittings and it's a process. And so I said, let's try it and see what happens. So we took a picture of me in the suit, put some pictures on the website, and we put the suit on there. I think it was $6,500 for the suit, another $800 for the shirt, and the tie, the pocket square, the shoes, everything. And it came out to $11,995. And I'm thinking, okay, we're not going to sell any of these things. How are we going to do this? Next morning I come in, I said, how'd we do? And they said, we sold out last night.
Like that.
And I'm like,
crazy.
Oh my God, you're kidding me. So we started looking at all the orders, and it's from like Dubai, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, Italy, all over America. And I'm thinking, I don't have the staff to go measure all these people. What am I going to do? And so I'm thinking, okay, here's what we're going to do. I wrote everybody a letter, an email, and said, congratulations on the purchase of your new David August limited edition FU suit. What we're going to do is we're going to send you a tape measure, and I'd like you to get a significant other, a buddy, to
being resourceful. Figure it out.
When you get the tape measure, call us. We'll schedule an appointment like we normally do, 10 o'clock on Thursday morning, whatever.
Yep.
And you have your person on that side with your tape measure. We'll have myself and 2 other helpers with me, someone holding the camera, my model, and then I'm taking the measurements. And I said, hey, Julie. Hey, Bob. What's going on?
Yeah.
Julie, you have your tape measure? I've got it. Okay, great. You're my assistant today. Here's what I want you to do. Follow my lead. I want you to take these measurements. First of all, how tall are you? How much do you weigh? What's your shoe size? Now put the tape measure right around here for his overarm, chest measurement, waist. We go through all the measurements. It ends up being like really fun for the people, and they're into it.
Exactly.
And we also
they're a part of the experience.
That's right. We also told them, if you can, please have your go-to suit jacket or sport coat with you so we can try that on for body proportions. And then we have them step back against the solid wall. And we say, okay, front picture, side picture, like a mug shot, back picture facing the wall, another side picture, put the coat on, those 4 same shots again. And then we make the garment. It's amazing. And then we ship it to them, and they have a local tailor. We could FaceTime with them, fit it on them. If there's any minor adjustments, we take care of it. But it totally worked. And so now that opened up our business for all sorts of
international business
everywhere.
Clients, and you didn't have to get on a jet.
It was great.
Fly to go see them or chat or anybody else.
It was great. I can do it in my backyard, my patio. But anyway, and it really does work, and we use it all the time now. And so now we can take care of people all over the world, especially that we have the August McGregor collection. It's so international. Mm-hmm. So people, every day we get people will email or DM us and say, hey, listen, I'm getting married. I'd love to have a David August suit. How does this work? And we just handle it.
So again, here we are, we started this by saying, it's just so easy for you, right? I mean, but how many pivots, how many adjustments to figure how are we going to do this? We're not going to sell you the suits.
Yeah. You got to be on your toes all the time, and the other thing that I think that we do and we've always done is we always say yes. We always say yes.
Okay, that leads me to something I want to get into, which is dealing with clients. Funny, I was listening to Tony Robbins was doing a podcast with someone, and he talked about when the Del Mar Castle burned down.
Yeah, that was with Conor McGregor.
Yeah, with Conor, right? Yeah. He says, and I lost $300,000 worth of David August clothes that
400.
day.
Anyway, but
and Conor said something like, and David loved it because he gets to come down and get you everything
new again. He says, you can't beat the hustle. You can't beat the hustle. Anyway, I had actually introduced.
That was so good.
Tony called me one day and said, hey, listen, I really want to have Conor down at my house. We have our platinum partners, Platinum Plus, whatever. They have a smaller group of platinum partners that come down. And anyway, I said, okay, let me see what we can do. So I introduced Conor to Tony. And Conor didn't really want to go, but he says, if you go, are you going to be there too? And I said, well, I'll fly in for it and we'll do it. So I flew into Miami. Conor was actually training there. Tony lives in Florida now. So brought him to Tony's house. He's got his weekend thing going on there. He brings him up on stage. They start talking.
It was pretty electric.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. And that was a very, very funny story. And what happened with Tony is that one night he did call me in the middle of the night and said, his assistant called and said, you're not going to believe it. Tony's house burnt down. He has no clothing, only the suit that he has on his back. Can you be here first thing in the morning? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm thinking, okay, here we go. Another emergency, right?
But this is
client emergency, which is fine.
But this is the yes. So I think, so we're talking a lot right now about it's the on-demand economy.
That's right.
And whether that is push a button, magic happens, Uber Eats, think about Netflix, Uber Eats, Uber when we used to get driving around and going to restaurants and such. Amazon, everything is right now. Yeah. And what a lot of people that are listening to this podcast struggle with is the consumer expects right now. The consumer expects a yes.
That's right.
So now you mentioned earlier you have 80 billionaires.
Yeah.
And I know you have lots of non-billionaires who are worth gazillions of dollars. And men and women at that level have a tendency to not care about anyone else's schedule except for their own.
That's right.
How do you manage that?
And you got to make them feel like they're the most important person at the time, and they are. When I'm on the phone with them, they are the most important person in my life.
But what happens if
business life?
Use, right? Like, let's do a hypothetical, Stallone and Will Smith call at this, and they both need you right now. How do you do that?
Divide and conquer. Hey, you guys kind of live in the same area. I'm going to see so-and-so first and so-and-so right after. Which one can I see first? And we just figure it out. And we literally, people will call us. When you're talking about custom clothing, people just kind of think the same as furniture. Okay, I got to pick out my furniture. Then they have to order the fabric. And what do they take?
Whatever. Yeah.
If you're making furniture, it's 8 to 12 weeks. It's always 12.
Yep.
Sometimes more. Oh, a fabric was out. Same type of principle. Mm-hmm. But what we've really mastered, I'd say, over the years is making it happen in 24 hours, 48 hours if we have to. We don't like to do that, and it really does screw up the shop if you do that. But we have the ability to do it, and we do it if we have to. And so we're constantly making decisions on, okay, what's more important right now? How can we make this happen? It's a constant juggling act. And so, but I will say that we don't say no very often, unless something just, I need it today at 5:00 and it's 3:30, and okay, well, it's, obviously I'd love to say yes, but I can't.
You and I ran into each other. We were both flying to or from somewhere, and you're wearing the FU vest. And you go, you should get one of these. And I'm like, I don't think I could wear that on stage. I go, but how about level 10? And you go, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, right, Tristan.
And you're actually the first one that did that.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Level 10, I'm like, this I can say.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm like, I can wear that on stage. And I got the same, people would walk up and they go, oh, that's good. They go, that's the FU guy, huh?
Yes. It's so funny.
You become the FU guy.
The FU guy. Oh, the FU suit. And like I said earlier, if you ask anybody about the FU suit, people go, so what do you do? I'm in the clothing business. Oh, great. Yeah. Design men's clothing. Great.
Yeah.
Where can I find your stuff? Where can I buy your stuff? We tell them about it. And then I'll mention, so do you know Conor McGregor? And of course, I know Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
So many people do know him for, whatever. He's the crazy Irish fighter,
Yeah.
And, oh, yeah, I know that guy. Oh, did you make the FU suit?
Bingo.
Always.
Bingo.
It's like, it's an automatic. It's like the next thing out of their mouth. And I say, yes, I did.
Is that a gift or a curse?
I think it's a gift.
Yeah.
I think it's a gift.
I mean, it's, it's like, what's the old Johnny Carson line? Like, good press and bad press.
Yeah.
It's
just
all
spell my
good.
name right.
It's just press, right?
That's right.
Exactly. Just spell my name right.
That's right.
So if you're going to be a yes for people, early on, you were my guy.
Yep.
And then you're like, I'm going to introduce you to Chad.
Yep.
Chad's here more. And I was like, I don't care, right?
Yeah.
It's like you have done an unbelievable job building a team and a bunch of people like you. Not many Dave, like Chad's his own guy, right? But I know that if he's saying to me, hey, this is the look, I got this jacket for you, this is what I want you to think about, I know that you two are symbiotic in that way.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
We do that.
Everybody wants to have a great team.
Everybody starts out as like my assistant. Is what happens. And they work with me for several years, actually.
So you're Gehry.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they work with me, and, they almost start sounding like me a lot of times, which is, it's kind of like, whoa. I don't really notice it, but a lot of people notice it. And what happens is I travel so much that my clients that are local clients a lot of times, they will just walk in the door.
Right.
You can come in anytime you want. You're so close. So Chad, I asked him, hey, why don't you just start taking care of clients in the showroom location? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of guys that I want to give my attention to, but I can't because I'm not there. And they deserve the attention. So I said, please take care of these guys. And normally when I tell some people, hey, listen, I'm not going to be there, but one of my guys in the office will take care of you. He's really great. They're like, I don't know. I really want to deal. When are you going to be back? And I say to them, look, here's the deal. This guy, once you meet him, you're going to want to deal with him. You're going to go have lunch with me.
You said the same thing to me. You're like,
true.
You'll see me. It's like, we'll see each other socially, but Chad is the guy.
You're going to be so happy. You're going to want to give me a big hug.
Is that a script?
Yeah, no. It
do you know what I mean? Because so think about Tim Smith is listening to this right now, right?
That's right.
Who you take care of also.
Hey, Tim.
And Timmy has 18 salespeople on his team. But the vast majority of the calls are coming in for, hi, Tim Smith, the guy who does all the videos.
That's right.
Hi, Tim Smith, who sells all the mega mansions, right? And that the phone call then goes to Amy or to Hunter or to somebody else on the team.
Yeah.
And he's figured out how to empower the team and the client to work together to know that, hey, you're going to get the experience you want. Everything's going to be taken care of.
Absolutely. And I think it's a great
natural for you?
Yes, it did. It was a little hard at first because you don't want to give that up. You think that everyone, at first when you're doing things, you think that, you're the only person who can do this.
Right.
And that's not true. If you can empower people and give them the rope to actually be themselves, but give them boundaries, and they kind of learn the boundaries by being with you, and they have seen me in action so many times.
Yeah.
Talking to my clients and being in my clients' wardrobes and going through it and what I will allow them to wear and not wear, and so they kind of get the parameters down, and they just copy what I've done.
You know what's interesting about it? This is no different from a great real estate professional or a mortgage loan officer or somebody, an entrepreneur, a tech person who's listening to this right now. But they say, like, I literally go and I tell my clients, I'm the expert. They don't say that. They just are. You just show up as the authority.
That's right.
You need to get this out of your closet, this out of your closet, this out of your closet, this, and we're going to replace it with this. And when you say it with that level of certainty, people follow.
Because you're owning it.
So all right. So I'm going to ask you a totally different question. Mm-hmm. Fashion. What's hot? What's not? what are the mistakes to avoid? Everybody everyone knows, hey man, if I put on something that makes me feel bulletproof, it's like my buddy wrote this book, The Alter Ego, right? So if you, like I put on a David August vest, a tie, I leave it, loose. I put on my lawn Vans. I got a great pair of jeans. Everything's tailored right, and I feel I'm Tom Ferry in that moment.
That's right.
That's my thing.
That's your look.
How do we help everybody get that?
I'd say, first of all, you definitely want to be comfortable in whatever you're wearing, comfortable in your mind and comfortable on your body. But depends. If you're a super conservative classic guy and you're like stuck in the past, that's not being comfortable any longer. That's just being stuck.
Yeah.
And so that's where I try to get people to think outside the box a little bit and try new things.
So the double pleated slacks are out?
Well, actually, pleats are actually, they're kind of like, pleats are, I hate to say this because, oh my God, every one of my clients is going to kill me because I said no more pleats.
No more pleats.
Never, ever again.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd still say no pleats, but pleats are a fashion item now, and they're coming back in a sense. They might put 1 or 2 pleats, but they're very, very shallow pleats, and they don't really lay like, old time pleats.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I didn't mean to derail you, but
no, it's okay.
But do you hear how deep he can go, guys, on every little the smallest nuance? What are the do's and don'ts right now? Be comfortable.
I'd say be comfortable. Be comfortable in your mind as well as on your body. Don't step out too far that it takes you out of your comfort zone because, look, you can wear, like I wear these as pants.
Yeah, I know you do.
Okay,
yeah.
And I get
Radomski,
and I get grief.
Jr.
And I get grief about it when I walk into a restaurant and I've got these pants on with a black polo shirt and a pair of tennis shoes or whatever. The key, though, is...
Okay, everyone, just hold on. Ready?
Yeah.
Pants. These and pants.
That's right. And even more crazy than that, I probably have 35 pairs in my wardrobe, but I love them. I call them my beach pants. So, but when I walk into a room, the first thing most of my friends and clients will say is, dude, what's the deal with the pants?
Yeah.
And my first response is, where's my cocktail?
Yeah.
And I just walk right past him and I just go on with my day, my evening. If you do that and you don't let them get in your head and you own it, by the end of the night, they will be coming up to you and saying, hey, buddy, where do I get those pants?
Confidence is so sexy. You know what I mean? Like it's like people when you have it, and that's right. So own it, feel good about it. Don't let anybody else
into your space.
Don't ask everybody else for the opinion. Maybe
that's got to be careful of that because everyone's got an opinion, and the hardest thing to do is in my business is having 2 or more people in a room trying to show them clothing because you got different opinions. It's better if you're one-on-one and the person actually trusts your professional experience to the point where they're going to say, this guy's going to take care of me. It's going to be right. So I'd say look, it depends on, you got to dress for your audience a little bit too.
Do you?
Well, to a certain level.
I used to think that a lot.
Starting out, yes, you do.
Yeah.
As you become successful, when people start looking to you as the guy or as the woman that's like the professional, the authority, and then you can kind of dress for yourself a little bit more. But it still needs to be okay in your mind. You have to feel great doing that because if you walked on stage with this pair of pants on and you didn't feel totally comfortable with it, even though you're super successful, you're the best in the game, you might lose some focus. And so it's better to walk on stage not having to worry about it. And you don't want to think about your clothing. I don't think that you should be thinking about your clothing. I think you should feel confident and comfortable and be able to. And so some people wear suits, some people wear sport coats, some people wear shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops.
Yeah.
I think, but always dress so that you are smartly dressed. Okay, you could be smartly dressed in any outfit. You don't have to just have a suit on. There's nothing better than a guy in a tuxedo. It's just beautiful. It's like, wow, that looks great.
Yeah.
But if a guy's in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops and they match and they fit correctly, you'd say, that guy's a smart guy, smartly dressed guy. Yeah. It's nice. So I just think make sure that your stuff is tailored correctly.
Okay, that's when I want you, like, this is so funny. Like, this is like an entrepreneur show.
Yeah.
But I see so many people that buy a nice suit off the rack.
Horrible.
And then they don't get it tailored.
That's right.
And you're like, man, it's boxy. It's a little too long on your, or like, I got a buddy of mine who's like, his pants are always like here's his shoe and here's where the pant. I'm like, are you showing your ankles off for a reason, partner?
Right.
Like what's,
sometimes that's okay if it's for the right look.
Right.
But if you're buying a suit, there's so many little, like, small adjustments that you can do to make the suit look so much better.
Yep.
And so always show some cuff on your sleeve. Mm-hmm. What it'll do, if you see a guy with I don't have it on right because I'm wearing a tracksuit, but if you're wearing a regular suit And if the sleeve is too long and it covers the actual linen, the cotton of the shirt, linen, whatever you would want it, the contrasting fabric, if it covers it, it makes the entire garment look too big.
Right.
Automatically. And if you just show a 1/4 inch, I personally like to show like 3/4 of an inch of cuff. I don't care. I like it.
And then open up the buttons.
Open up, and then little nuances like that, opening the buttons, so it's a true, custom hand-tailored suit. But I'd say that if you show cuff, tying, if you're going to wear a tie the tie, make sure that the shirt collar has 0 tie space, tie that, cinch it up really nicely, right up against your throat, not so it's choking you, but you want it so it's clean, have a nice dimple in the knot, because this is what you're doing. You're framing your face, and people talk with their hands, and so you're looking at your hands. And so it's really important that these items look great.
Yes.
Okay. And then obviously the drape of the coat, the balance of the coat's important. Making sure the pants aren't too long. If the pants are too long, it's the same thing like the sleeve's too long. It makes the whole entire garment look too big and baggy on you.
Yeah.
And you don't need that. And you want, now everything is kind of high and tight. You want to look super, super tight without being uncomfortable.
And I'm talking about like I referred you a client many moons ago, CEO of a big company, Steve Games, right?
Oh yeah.
And a couple years ago, and he's like, when he got back in the game, he's like, I need to get a suit. I'm like, you got to go to David. He's like, oh yeah, right.
That's right.
And I think Steve just turned 70.
Yep.
Right. So we're talking at 65. He shows up and he looks bulletproof.
Looks great.
Right. Yep. And the pants are a little,
stands on the table.
A little, pours water on his head,
Right.
But the point is, some people get stuck in the, my age, that, or I'm too young, but like, I think you dispelled all of that. Let's talk about this. Is COVID the end of suits and ties? I think that's the only question I actually wrote down for you.
No, I think masks are tough.
Yes.
When people are wearing a mask, you're thinking about what's on your face, and right now everybody should be wearing a mask, and we should get through this, right?
Yes,
so that's where we are.
We go.
That's right, exactly.
So
boom. That's it.
Like, is this the look now with a suit, a tie, and a mask? And I'm all muffled for the podcast.
No, it's honestly, it's hard to dress. That's why I say we need to get through this. We need to get a vaccine. We need to figure it out so people can get back to the normal. Mm-hmm. But because when you're going out, you're dressing not only for yourself, but you're dressing for other people.
Yep.
And it feels awkward to put a mask on and then also try to get dressed. People, it's already, if you're in a structured suit, it's not as comfortable as being in a tracksuit or a t-shirt or a pair of jeans or whatever. So you're already dressing up a little bit, but all these functions you go to, the gatherings you're going to, they're not having them right now. So people just don't really have an opportunity, a reason to get dressed.
Yeah.
So I think that right now, suits, sport coats, very limited. Yeah. But doesn't mean you shouldn't wear them or try to find opportunities to wear them. But there's other opportunities to wear stuff like I'm wearing right now. It's a little more casual, but it's still made with a suit fabric. It can be great. But I think that once we get past this, there's so much pent up. I want to travel. I want to go to nice restaurants. I want to see my friends. I want to dress nicely. I want to go. And I talk to my clients now, and they want to buy things.
Yes.
They want to buy clothing, but they're like, and they'll buy it just because they're trying to help me out maybe. And I'm like, don't do it for that reason. I love it and that's great. But I think that we're going to get through this, and I think that we're going to be back to wearing nice clothing again very quickly. And I know people want it.
I agree. Okay, but let's talk tracksuits now. Casual. I mean, business casual has a totally different meaning when you live on Zoom every day.
That's
now, the good news is...
especially from here down.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like, are you even wearing pants right on the Zoom session? 99% of the people that are watching this, right, are in sales, right? In some, they could be a CEO of a company, they're still in sales. So they're still having a lot of client interaction, whether it's Zoom or face-to-face. Yeah. Right? So
I think one of the biggest, the biggest problems or issues that people are doing is they're dressing too casually. And so they don't understand the importance of always looking smartly dressed. And I keep on saying that term, smartly dressed. Smartly dressed to me is whatever you're wearing, make sure that it fits you properly, that it doesn't look like you just got out of bed. And people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'm just wearing a t-shirt. They know I'm at home. They don't care what I'm wearing. Well, my hair's not combed. Whatever it might be. That's not true. Yeah. I think, by the way, you may think it's true for you, and some of the people may not think that, but there are some people that impressions are really important. And look, if my stockbroker, if I was Zooming with my stockbroker and he's in his pajamas, I just wouldn't have that high of a opinion of him as if he showed up in a nice collared shirt,
right,
dressed nicely. He looked like he got up and prepared for our meeting. I would feel much more comfortable investing with that guy.
I guarantee every person watching knows. I could see a million head nods right now. People saying yes, right? It's not so much dress to impress, but dress in alignment with your values, with your standards, with who you are as a business person, how you want to show up for others, how you want to be treated by others. Right.
That's right.
So as I say,
it's your brand.
It is your brand.
It's your brand. So take care of it.
And yet right now, most of what I've worn for the last probably 3 years, I have like 1,000 black t-shirts.
That's right.
20 pairs of lawn Vans and jeans. And then when I speak, it's a rolled up, white shirt and a tie, right? Is that okay?
That's okay as long as they're clean. They fit your neck properly.
Exactly.
They look good. And you want to spice it up a little bit every once in a while. Yeah. Don't get too, into a rut of all black all the time because black's great. It's easy. You don't have to think about it as much. Yeah. But I would say spice it up a little bit, change it up a little bit. But as long as it fits you correctly, that's okay.
Yeah. Tristan razzed me yesterday. I walked in. He was like, "Are you wearing gray jeans?"
Oh my gosh, stepping out.
I was just at David August. Yes, as a matter of fact.
Yes, I am.
He's like, I've been with you for like 3.5 years. I've never seen. I'm like, hey. I'm coachable.
Stepping
out. I'm coachable.
That's right.
So
that's awesome.
So couple last questions that we'll wrap it up. I want to know what inspires you.
I think my family does. My kids are like every day I want to like impress upon them that the work ethic that my parents kind of instilled in me. Mm-hmm. And I think that making people smile and happy with what we do, and I really do. I mean, it's amazing when we do like provide something with with an amazing service or making them a few outfits that they get compliments on, a big smile on their face, and they come back and they compliment us. I think that's really important. It makes me feel like, hey, what I'm doing is really, really, really important.
Yeah. It's I'm studying a lot about the Japanese culture of omotenashi, mm-hmm. which is like their just exceptional customer service. And when I think about what you deliver, it is that it is that level of experience.
Yeah,
it is inspiring. Last thoughts, just for everybody listening right now. Maybe we kind of did do's and don'ts. We talked to kind of sort of fashion, what's hot, what's not. But talk about maybe the woman that's listening right now who's like, how do I get this across to my husband? Like, what do I buy my husband to help him step it up? And listen, ladies, I'm not razzing your husband, but maybe he's got a little schleppy, like in his look and feel. Like, what is that? What can that lady do to help him step it up a little bit?
I think the biggest complaints we get from women, significant others, whatever, in relationships is that they either see their husband or boyfriend or whether either in a suit or a sport coat or in bad sweats.
Yeah.
So that in between
yes.
is like the area that they, oh my God, I want him to go to dinner and he doesn't have to wear a suit, but I would like him to have a nice, sport shirt on and a nice pair of jeans and it fit properly.
Some khakis or something. Yes.
Yeah, I tell people, get him a nice pair of jeans.
Yeah.
Get him a nice sport shirt, polo shirt, even like a bomber jacket or something. It's a little more casual that he feels like comfortable. The other thing, if you're wanting him to get into some custom clothing, the best thing to do is, will have the least resistance, is get him a gift certificate for like a custom hand-tailored shirt.
Yeah.
And then so he doesn't feel like he has to go in and get all these measurements done for a suit. But what will happen is once the measurements are taken, that's the hard part. And no one ever wants to meet, like I said, no one ever wants to meet someone new. They already have their own, they got their car wash guy, they got their attorney, they got their doctor, they've got their guy. Mm-hmm. At the level that we are when we're dealing with people, that success level, they don't want to meet them. So if you would get them a certificate or something for like a custom hand-tailored shirt, something that's easy to get their measurements and make that initial meeting process a little bit more smooth, then now we've captured the measurements. They've met the person they're going to be dealing with. Then they get to try the product.
Yep.
If they can try the product, they will be back. As long as you're the product wherever they're shopping. With us, for sure, they're going to come back. I always tell people, I'm always willing to put my money where my mouth is, always. I always tell people, let me, try a couple shirts for you. If you like them, great. Don't have to come back ever. But it's like 100% people come back and they love what we do. And most of the guys, if you asked them up front, they'd say, no, I'm good. I don't need any of that.
Yeah,
that
I don't need
service.
any shirts.
I don't need any. I'm good. I have a whole closet full of stuff. I don't need it.
Exactly.
But what happens when you get clothing that actually fits you properly and you start going to that, now you're thinking, oh my God, where's my good jeans? Where's my good shirts, my David August shirts? Where are those? And now they're going back and forth to the cleaners, and now you think, okay, I need to go back there and see them again.
Yeah. The thing I always say is find them a good tailor.
Yeah, find them a good tailor.
Find them a good tailor because, Arturo's in town, right? Or,
so
like all these guys that.
That's
like,
good. So
get it.
Having your clothing tailored and fitting you properly is very, very, very important. And so that's you answered yourself. That's a good one.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, man. Thanks for being on the show and hanging out and talking fashion and talking business and life.
Always fun dealing with you, buddy. You're great.
Yeah. And thank you for the underwear, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
And I do want to tell you that Chad, you talked about Chad earlier. Chad is an amazing guy.
Chad.
All the guys at the office are great. Chad, Lucas, Micah, all the group of guys, and they're. But Chad, to me, he is like a plotter.
Yes.
He does everything. He thinks through everything, and he's just an amazing guy to deal with. And I knew you guys would make a good team there, so I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, I love him. I mean, he's a friend. He's someone I go in. I only have 5 minutes.
Yep.
In an hour and a half, I leave.
He's always prepared. I know.
He's very prepared. He's very organized.
Keeps you there.
He's always got 5 cool things he wants me to take a look at. I know you don't need anything, but here's just 5 cool things, and I'm like, all right, okay. But then
he's been listening,
right?
Good.
And then how's your wife? How are the kids? What's going on with school? Like it's such a relationship experience thing that now coming in and out of there always just feels better.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, you created that, my friend.
We're trying.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, I love it. All
Thanks
right.
again for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, hey, follow at David August. I think it's actually at David August Inc. I think it is on Instagram.
That's right.
Definitely.
Instagram is David August Clothing.
David August Clothing. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. But follow him, check him out, and look, if you guys need a new suit, if you need a new shirt, I think the first one's free is what I heard. Right. The tracksuits are hot.
I did say that. Careful. Woo.
And I threw on a jacket for you. I've not worn a jacket, I think, since January.
You look great, by the way. Now I'm kind of feeling underdressed, actually. So you did it worked.
Hey, that doesn't happen often between the two of us. So it's nice to win once. So thank you so much for watching. Give us a comment. Absolutely follow David. And we'll see you guys on the next podcast. Take care.